everybody, welcome. It's Cooks Who Care Beyond the Table, and we are interviewing operators in the Philadelphia area and beyond to talk about what's inside the mind of being a business professional. And it's more than the food, it's more than being a cook, and we really want to let you know how operators are handling what they do on a daily basis. Hope you enjoy.
If I am going to be doing this for the long term, something has to change. Having everybody that works so hard for me, that's making my dreams come true, that they shouldn't have to worry about paying their bills. They want more than just the paycheck. They want to feel appreciated and respected and valued. Hello, I am Brian Oliveira. I am the chef and owner of Girard in Fishtown, Philadelphia.
So thank you so much for coming and being here. Your days off are precious. I know that for a fact. My husband's a chef. Money isn't usually on the table, it's the time. That's the most important value. But let's kind of look a little bit back before you kind of got your start. Did you ever have a minimum wage job?
I did. My first job was at McDonald's when I was 14 for $5.10 or $5.15 an hour.
I worked at McDonald's too.
So that was how I got into the industry. That was where the starting point, and I have never left.
Your concept is very unique. It's very understanding of what's happening in the economy, and I think what would be really great is if we get a bigger picture of understanding of how are you trying to do things different as far as treating employees and staff at your location.
All of these issues that I had noticed from working in restaurants for about 10 years now was the divide and just the stress and how hard you work and how compensated you feel, and the exchange of how hard you're working versus what the payoff is in the end, and the physical toll. So these were all things that I had been thinking about when we were looking to open Girard, and I had read about this restaurant, and the name is slipping my mind now, but they had implemented this system and it had alleviated a lot of these issues. The key component was they were investing in their staff. Regardless of your position in the restaurant, you work very hard. And it's long hours, it's stressful, it's fast-paced, it's
the common standard of whatever it says, this is what happens in the industry.
So they're investing in you because you need them to be open and serve food, and the employees though don't always feel that you're investing in them, because even if a front of house employee is making good tips, that's kind of on their own. They're working for those, they're at the table, they're working the guest. You're giving, for them, they feel like just another number because at the end of the day they are, and turnover is so high, and that's kind of just been the accepted norm. But the reality is a lot of people end up spending a career in the industry, and it gets treated as this part-time fill-in for now type thing. And for a lot of people that might be how it starts, but then inevitably they end up making that their career. We went forward with the no tipping concept, and at the end of the day, my P&L is mostly labor, but I have a handful. We have a very small staff, but a handful of them are still from day one, and we've been open 2.5 years. The one, and everyone else that has come on, we all work really well together. People are there, they're happy to be at work, they're excited about what's going on, they feel invested in the growth of the business, and kind of that's the overall idea, is that if we can all come together as one and work towards one common goal,
Yeah.
then the restaurant as a whole can proceed towards success.
Right.
And you know, success is different for everybody, but for me, it's having everybody that works so hard
Yes.
for me, that's making my dreams come true, that they shouldn't have to worry about paying their bills.
The time you're investing is just as important as the value you
Yes.
pay, you know,
And feeling appreciated
Mhm.
is worth something. You know, it's appreciation is some form of compensation, and I don't want to say that I just appreciate my employees and that's how I pay them, but it is
There's
a
a
part of the equation,
Mhm.
and I think it's a very important one, given especially how hard people are expected to work to make the restaurant run the way that it should.
So where are we today? Are we at the dawn of the no tipping era, or is the sun setting on some of this fair wage concept?
I think on some level it's inevitable that it's going to have to at least meet halfway.
Mhm.
We're looking at a minimum wage for tipped workers that hasn't gone up since 1991, and the cost of living certainly has. You know, you can still go out, even at my restaurant, you can come and get breakfast for $5. You know, I know a lot of the other places, it's still a very, almost, we're subsidizing the true cost of running a restaurant
Mhm.
by these low wages and by, relying on the customers to compensate the staff. I've learned that with presenting this business model to our customers, and the biggest drawback, I think, was that consumer wasn't ready for it.
Yeah,
And
right.
in a way, they felt that we were, or it seems like some people felt we were pocketing money and not actually paying the staff fair, and they were like, well, who determines what a fair wage is?
It was resistance,
Yes.
right? This change is resistance.
Yeah.
You know, that's the first stage of it.
Every table before had something to say, whether it was a question or a concern or a compliment, whatever it was. It was, for the first year, we were that no tipping restaurant, and that was
Yes.
before the idea of us being a restaurant. It's gotten much easier now. We
Yes.
have it on the menu, it's on the website, it's on the check presenter, it's on the receipt, the server spiel.
So it's be like the piece of backing off resistance would be, let me help you understand
Yes.
what we're doing.
And once we had the opportunity to explain it to people, they're like, oh, okay.
And then you saw it.
Yeah. But at first they were like, the way our model is set up now is that the prices on the menu include service, so you don't see an added service fee at the
Okay.
bottom.
Mm-hmm.
My first thought was people aren't going to want to see that fee because then they're going to have an opinion about the
That's
percentage.
psychological.
And so now we're a breakfast and lunch place. People have an idea of what they should spend on breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
So now they think we're expensive right off the bat when you just walk by and you just look because the first thing you do is you scan the prices and then you look and see if there's something that you'd like to eat.
Mm-hmm. But you
the
know what
majority,
they're being
yeah.
conscious of, like what's being involved in their decision
Mhm.
process to choose you,
Yep.
right?
And so right off the bat we look more expensive, but they're not taking into account, oh, I'm not leaving that 20% tip at the end because it's already included there, so I don't have to worry about it.
It is a cultural shift, which is probably why it got so much attention, for that facet, because you're going, no, I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna do the food I do, and I'm gonna do that well, and
Mhm.
I am going to put my investment beyond my food, because it's the big picture, not just, oh, it's just my plate and here it
Yeah.
is, and I'm gonna make money off the fact that I don't pay anybody anything, and thank you,
Yeah.
I'm successful, you're not,
Yeah.
It's, you're talking about getting that, but it is selling that too, because you gotta get buy-in from everyone
Mhm.
in that. People get patterns, they get what they're used to, they're comfortable in those areas, whether
Yeah.
they like it or not. So. How challenging was it for you to have the staff adopt this idea that you said, this is part of who we are?
Mhm. you know, if I am going to be doing this for the long term, something has to change. You know, we have, have 2 of my staff members now have kids, and they have to take into account that they have to make sure they have a stable income. Not having to worry about that is a huge relief for, a single mom. And for anybody to know, I'm working 40 hours this week, this is what I'm gonna make. They want more than just the paycheck. They want to feel appreciated and respected and valued. 2.5 years in to Girard, every day we're figuring things out, and it's just this constant pursuit of perfection.
Yes.
With also realizing we're never going to get there. Yeah. But if we all come together and we work as a team, we can get as close to it as possible.
Yep. What advice could you possibly give an operator who's kind of struggling with, team motivation and like building morale? Is there anything that maybe you can provide from your personal experience that could be helpful to others?
I have really seen the investment that I've put into my staff really pay off, and whether it's taking, and allocating some more money towards them, or just taking the time to listen to their concerns or things that, ideas they have, opening the dialogue and having just creating a dialogue is an important first step. Okay. Getting on the same page is, the first step of saying, here's where we are. Yep. Here's where we'd like to be, and then together creating a path a path towards that goal that you can realistically reach, and then setting goals as a team. What have you guys noticed that we can do better? What is it that you think we shouldn't change? What's working? The investment in the employee has paid me back in ways that, having a lower payroll percentage wouldn't have.
It's so interesting because lately I never would have thought that I'd be teaching people about millennial generation. I am a millennial myself. But it is a struggle for other generations that have been influenced by, military-style kitchens, brigade system, and then going, I need to change with the times because I have to. They're aware. I feel like there's this sense of awareness, like I have to do it different. I don't know how.
That's all they know.
Exactly. I was trained this way. I'm doing it this way because that's the way it's always been done.
And you can't force it. But I think it has to be genuine. And I think this generation was raised by, even outside of the food industry, our parents were very, jobs were meant to be lifelong, secure, make sure you're taken care of, these are the priorities, everything needs to be in order, and then, you can have a hobby or do something creative. We, as millennials, have just, I think, been pushed to recognize some of that stuff because, growing up in that environment,
it affected,
it was sometimes a very rigid thing, especially, I had a single mom, and so things just had to be a certain way, and it's hard to understand that, but and we're here now, so you have to start the conversation.
And I think what also starts that conversation, like before you say something, you immediately start first with, what's it like to be them? And let me understand what they have to deal with in order to work for me, because if it's going to be the long term, I need to understand that, like how you just mentioned, the one single mom, it has to be more rigid. Well, why is it that way? If I started talking like you're saying, then I can try to uncover, like, okay, well, she has these time commitments, she's the only person to do pickups, she's the only one to do this. I could still use her as an asset on my team, but I have to do it this way.
Yes.
In order to really pull her in.
Understanding their situation, and so then you can find the best fit for them within the restaurant or the organization, and then everything will build around it. But if you're willing to work with them, they're going to be more willing to work with you. I am Brian Oliveira, and I am the chef from Girard in Fishtown. Our website is girardongirard.com. You can follow us on social media at Girard on Girard. And yeah, we do breakfast, lunch, brunch, and dinner on the weekends.